Hi and welcome to the Sprouts podcast. Today we have with us Chirdeep from Quintype. And thank you, Chirdeep, for giving us this time. We're at SaaSBoomi in Chennai. And today we're going to talk about the GTM journey for Quintype. But before we start, could you tell us a little bit about your company and your journey so far in the company?
Sure. So Quintype started about 8 years ago. The way it started, what we do is we provide the tech for media houses, news media particularly. So the way we grew is Quintype started off with this publishing company called the Quint. They are our majority investors as well. They needed a CMS platform. We started building something very custom for the Quint and then extracted that into a platform that's right now being used by a vast majority of Indian publishers as well as publishers globally. So that's in a nutshell our journey. What we do is provide CMS platforms for publishers, subscription management. You see a lot of news going behind paywalls right now.
Absolutely.
So that's something that we provide. Your web hosting, mobile apps, single sign-on, the entire works. Actually, I was talking to somebody outside. They said, when I mentioned that, they're like, you're the Amagi for news. That's one way to look at it.
Yes. Right. Very interesting. In fact, he's the man behind seeing those, you read 4 lines of an article and then it says you got to pay to read it. Yeah, he's the guy behind that. Okay, so can you tell us more? So how long has it been with Quintype? Like how old is the company?
The company was founded in 2015, end of 2015. I've been there since early 2016. So it was founded by a friend of mine called Amit and Raghav Bell, who owned Network 18, sold it to Reliance, and now is running Quint and the whole bunch of media around Quint itself. So this is how it started. That's when I came in 2016. I was part of the founding team.
Right.
And then we started building one product after the other. The CMS was the start. We built it exclusively for the Quint. And at that point, there's something called Bloomberg Quint. Bloomberg Quint was a joint venture between Quint and Bloomberg. So we started building this platform. It got feature rich enough for both of them to run pretty well. And both of them were winning a lot of awards in a lot of these news events.
Right.
So we got a lot of visibility. People wanted a similar platform. And then we said, okay, now we're ready to start selling it to others.
Right.
So we got our first customer out here in Chennai, actually. Vickerton was the first large customer in India to onboard with Quintype. And then since then, it's been a great journey. We've got customers in Bangladesh, in Thailand. We've got a lot of customers in the Middle East, in Europe, in the US, all of that. So right now, that's where it's been.
So basically what started as a customized solution for a particular company now is turned into a platform that you can sell to other news players as well.
That's right. But the vision was always to make a platform. So the vision was always to keep Quintype and the publishing part of it separate. It won't be a customized platform only for a publisher.
Right.
The learnings came from Quint and Bloomberg Quint. So we had to work. So if you look at it back about 8 years ago, there are not too many platforms out there. WordPress was the default platform. It was WordPress, Drupal, or some of the European ones which are too expensive to buy. Right. So you're taking on something like a WordPress. You can't go to the product, or you can't go to the market with something called an MVP, which is just like, I'll work only on your stories and nothing else. Right. So it had to be taking on something as big as that, particularly for the news industry. And that's why the first 1 or 2 years, we really didn't sell it to anyone. Right. We built the platform. We focused on building the platform particularly, and then expanding that to other client needs.
Nice. Very interesting. Why particularly staying true to one industry? Like WordPress is pretty horizontal. Like anyone can build anything. That's what WordPress at least claims.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to stick to one industry and not do an horizontal expansion? And why vertical SaaS?
It takes too much of capital as well as resources to focus so widely, right? So you find a narrow niche, and that's basically where you get. You do the best that you can and then expand over a period of time. Our idea is not to be only in the news industry. What we look at is as a digital experience platform, the DXP is part of it, right? So our niche right now is news. That's where we are going ahead with.
Right.
But after this, we would expand onto other verticals as well. It could be corporate blogs. It could be anything else. But we want to stay focused on one region, make sure that everything around that is working pretty well. And that itself is a fairly big industry for us. So once we get that in multiple geographies in the US, Europe, Middle East, India, Southeast Asia, then we start expanding into other lines as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So what does the GTM motion look like for you essentially from start to end? Could you run us through it like before, like how do you find the person and then closing the deal and how long it is?
Sure. We've tried multiple things. Like every other SaaS company, we've tried multiple approaches. there is, of course, the content marketing and organic way of writing. So we're talking about what are the new features that news industry should be looking at and all of that, right? So that's one way to get your leads. The other part of it is you pay the Google tax and the Facebook tax and the Twitter tax and LinkedIn and all of them to get the leads. So
Yes.
we've done that as well. All of this is B2B sales. So it's not something like a PLG where you come swipe your card and you're done with.
Absolutely.
The ticket sizes are much higher than that. So
Yes.
typically our sales cycle for a large publisher would be 4 months, 4 to 5 months.
Okay.
And that's enterprise sales. There's a SDR who's calling people saying, okay, this is what we do. Is there a need? Events like this. This is more of a SaaS conference, but we have a lot of news focused conference. We go and meet a lot of people out there. And that's been the multi-pronged strategy that's worked for us. Meeting people face to face, nothing beats that. So you have to be at events, but it becomes quite expensive in terms of travel, in terms of sponsorships, all of that.
Right.
So we do that part of it as well, but we also look at Google, like Google ads, LinkedIn ads. We look at SDRs, cold calling people, email, and content marketing. So these are largely the strategies that we've used that's worked pretty well for us.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And so, like you mentioned, one particular industry. How many countries, like currently, like Quintype is present in?
So our offices are in India and Middle East, in Dubai.
Okay.
We are headquartered in Bangalore. We have a branch office in Dubai where we have sales and marketing efforts out there. We've just opened an office in the US. As of last week, we have an office in the US.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So any other place where you don't have an office, do you still manage to do sale, or you feel that you need to, if you're selling in a region, you need to have an office there?
Great question. I mean, so Europe is a place where we don't have an office, but we have some good publishers out there.
Wow.
And the strategy there has been channel partnerships. So we said Europe is going to be a little hard to get into with regulations and data sovereignty, all of that. So we said there was a partner who reached out to us and they really liked the product.
Okay.
So they said, we've got media connections out here. Maybe we can partner.
Right.
And that was a great way to enter Europe.
Wow.
And that's working pretty well for us. So it's at a point where they're using our software, selling it to publishers. We get royalty out there. They manage all the infrastructure.
Okay.
It's working pretty. I think in non-English speaking nations, particularly something like LATAM, this will be our preferred strategy, at least to start with. Right. Go as a channel partnership. Even places in Southeast Asia will probably want to look at channel partnerships, but a large part, US, Middle East, all of these markets, we are able to sell directly. So that it will be a mix of direct sales and channel partnerships.
So I think partnership is something that in these conversations that I've been having since yesterday has really come up. And yesterday I was talking to Sumit from Zozo Day, and he told me that they are integrating as partnership into an existing HR software because they handle rewards. They're like one particular part of it.
Okay.
However, yours is an overall platform.
Right.
Like it's an end-to-end thing.
Right.
So what kind of partnership? How would you look at partnership if it is an end-to-end platform in itself? So some words there.
So it takes quite a bit to set up because you need to start training their folks to start selling it, right? So you need to work very closely with the partner to say, okay, you have a sales team, they need to understand the product. We deploy 3 times a week to production. The new features that are coming continuously push out to production. So making sure they are in sync. All of that is something that will take some time to get going. But what they enjoy is instead of being a part of another application, you're taking the entire application to a client.
Right.
And you're saying, okay, and it's a mix of both worlds. So they say that these guys are working with some of the best publishers in India, Middle East, all of that. We get to get some of the best names from Europe.
Right.
And that works both ways for us in terms of a marketing effort. But largely, when we sell to customers there and working with the partner, it's not, apart from the coordination part of it, nothing else comes in the way. It's only about coordination, making sure their sales team and marketing team is up to date with what we have been doing.
Okay. Right. So since yesterday, I've met quite a few folks and a lot of people have discussed partnerships. However, a key part of these partnerships have been that we've integrated with the product. So there's one part of the problem that we are solving. So we integrate with that product and then they obviously make the sales pitch.
Yeah.
However, in your case, you already have a full-fledged product,
right,
which has to go to the market. So what's your approach there? What kind of partners are you looking at and why? And how do you go about it?
You're absolutely right. So it's just, our play is a platform play, right? So we're bringing the entire platform to your publishing house. So we work with partners who provide different other parts of the application. For example, here with Izuto, we've got a great partnership. They are a push notification partner for us. So integrate pretty well into the system.
Right.
There are other partnerships that we have. For example, in OpenAI for now, that's something that we use for a lot of GenAI work.
Nice.
So that integrates in here as well. But having said that, because it's a platform, that makes the sale a little harder because you're going all in. You need to move the existing platform and then put your platform in. It's not like a plugin to their existing work.
Right.
Sales cycles are longer. But once you are in, the publisher uses our platform 10 hours a day. Every person in the editorial team uses our platform 10 hours a day on a regular basis.
Wow.
Right. So it's a very sticky platform. It's like you using Gmail. Right. You use email regularly on this. So everything that they publish goes through Quintype. Right. And then it's a very sticky part of it.
Nice. So churn is not a problem.
We have a 3% churn.
Wow.
So it's a fantastic position to be in. But I mean, while we are privileged to have that, we do understand that you need customer support, success. All of that is in place right now. We don't take it for granted that, you can build something and just give it to them. So we've got a good support and success team in place for it.
Nice. Very interesting. You mentioned AI. And I think that's my next question. And AI has been the theme for the event as well. So right now you mentioned that you integrated with OpenAI, and I kind of understand, like maybe for some pieces, in written content as well.
Right.
How do you see AI? Because news is an important piece of content, and it is evolving with time. It is getting I think since last 10, 15 years, news has really evolved. There are specific news channels started coming in and all. How do you see AI impacting news delivery or publishing change, like with AI, like with your platform in the next 2 to 3 years?
Great question. It's a double-edged sword. Right? Okay. News is extremely at a point where they're very skeptical about the power of AI. In the sense of, while it can be used for, we are already using it for generating your headlines, your meta titles, everything that could be automated is already automated. But the problem is a lot of fake news can be generated as quickly. You can generate images that never existed, never happened. You can generate videos that never happened, right? And that's circulated on WhatsApp, that people don't distinguish what is right and what. So a lot of news is moving towards identifying what is that fake news part of it. That's something that news industry is also focusing on. So they're quite skeptical in the power of AI, while they see the advantages of automatically summarizing your article. All of that works really well with AI. Even generating news. For example, you want, let's say you're writing about a stock and you want to see this stock price fell here and this event happened around with that.
Right.
That's something AI generates really well. Right. It can coordinate 2 or 10 different events and make an article on it.
Right.
Now that works pretty well. But at the same time, it can generate an image that never happened. And that's the problem. Right.
Midjourney is doing just that.
So that's where we are over here. We are staying clear of using AI in generating the news itself. That's the feedback from publishers as well. But for everything else, which is something that publishers, so here's our thought. Editorial teams are really good at writing stories, right? Their way of writing the headline, I mean, the way of starting the story to ending the story, all of that works pretty well. They're not so good at writing SEO, keywords, what is the catchy headline? And AI does a fantastic job of that.
Absolutely.
Right? So, and you can give multiple options. You're saying, I'm not giving you just one option. I'll give you 3 options. You choose what's best. So all of this works pretty well, and that's what we've done with Quintype.
Very nice. The titles and the like keywords within the content. Sentences, long tail keywords, and all of that.
And a whole bunch of data that's coming in, right? Like for example, you look at so much traffic is going on to this particular page. Is this something that can go behind a paywall that you can monetize?
Nice.
These are things also that we are thinking. It's not something that we have built yet, but these are things that where our thought process is right now.
AI is also changing the way we are consuming content. I mean, I just figured out this hack recently wherein I'm summarizing videos into text, 10-point text, and reading the text and not watching the entire video. And I've just started doing that, and now I'm hooked on to it. I'm not watching the entire video at all. The 10-minute video, I'm putting the link into the AI and asking it to generate a 10-point summary.
So transcribing videos, any Zoom call you go, there'll be some autopilot that comes along with it, right? So
absolutely.
Which is a note taker.
Autopilot.
So this is a standard thing that happens everywhere. I think those are use cases of AI that everybody is using. The issue is when it is misused, and that's where the news industry is quite skeptical in how it's.
So you're building that into the platform as well?
It's really hard to build that into the platform, but there is the consortium of news publishers looking at how do you keep something that is identified as fake and everybody understands it as fake, right? So identifying fake news as soon as it can be done, can happen. That is something they're working with. Tech at this point is not solving the problem. There are some parts of it which identifies this is AI generated, but it's not 100% accurate.
It is not. I think those AI checkers they still need a lot of work.
You can confuse them. You just making a few edits, you can say that this is human edited and you'll say it's human edited.
So it's not that on point right now. I
Yes.
kind of absolutely agree. So okay, you were talking about that there's a whole approach to GTM that you take. Going back to that topic, like there's
Right.
emails, there's event. Can you run us through your GTM tool stack? Like what tools are you using? What tech stack are you using currently?
So the GTM tool stack is what most B2B SaaS companies would use. ZoomInfo, your Lucia, MailChimp,
Yes.
Reply.io, all of them. So regular stack that you try to do some kind of automation out here.
Mm-hmm.
We use Pipedrive as our primary CRM. That's where all of the reporting and sales conversations go in and stuff. That's largely our marketing and tech part of it. But you should talk to my marketing team if you want to know a little more details. This is basically what
Sure.
I am aware of. On the tech side of things, we've used different technologies on our products. We use Clojure on the core platform.
Mm-hmm.
One of the very few companies who use Clojure
Okay.
at this scale. At this point, we serve about 1 billion page views a month across our
Wow.
publishers. So all of that is served through the platform itself on Clojure.
Right.
And then for other parts, we've got Ruby and Ruby on Rails that we use for subscriptions and everything else. And the front end is Node and React.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Nice. My final question for you for this podcast is any words of wisdom for vertical SaaS industry players and who are building their startups and scaling up, the to-dos and not to-dos, the good, bad, ugly, please.
So it depends on the stage of the startup that you are in. Different pieces of advice. And actually, SaaSBoomi is a fantastic place to come in to get all of those pieces of advice. When we were sub 1 million, I wish somebody had told me this, and I wish I knew about all of these before as well. Track your metrics very closely, right? Metrics in SaaS matter a lot. What are your gross margins? What's your CAC? What's your LTV to CAC ratio? What's your months to recover your CAC? All of that is something that really matters and something that you should be tracking very minutely, and including something like churn. If your churn is a significantly high double-digit churn,
Yes.
you're losing more customers and you're burning so much more sales and marketing money in getting fixing the leaky bucket.
Yes.
You should be focusing on looking at better customer success teams and stuff. So this is what the metrics will tell you. The other thing I would say, when you grow, particularly in vertical SaaS, avoid the need to build multiple products till you hit 10 million ARR at least. That's the mistake we made. We already have about 3 or 4 products, and it's, as engineers, it's very easy to say, okay, building products,
Yes.
I'll do this, right? But you don't think about GTM, you don't think about and spending your marketing dollars. All of that becomes a huge issue. So stay with one product till it hits a good, significant, large majority of the world, and then you can start focusing on other products as well.
Thank you so much for the advice. And I think I learned a lot. I'm sure the audience also learned a lot. Thank you for giving us your time and like coming here and spending this time with us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.